Here we go. What a wonderful turnout, Annabelle.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I don't know if I'm more or less nervous because I have people I love here, but I'm glad that they're here and my
Yes.
new friends too.
Whenever I was dancing professionally, I would always get more nervous whenever I knew people in the audience. So I can relate to how you're feeling. Okay, so this workshop, very excited about it and very much looking forward to it. Aging with Spirit. So happy that you're going to be talking about this. I think it's such an important topic to be discussing. And just to do a brief introduction, Annabelle, as many of you know, is an attorney with 30 years of experience whose law practice focuses on trust and estates and elder law, including planning for individuals with special needs. And on the in the program book, which some of you might not yet have because I haven't been able to email this to you yet, but you will receive shortly. You will have a rundown of the schedule of all of the facilitators, their workshop information, their bios, how to connect with them, as well as any worksheets or extra information that they shared. So I believe in this booklet, Annabelle's would be on page 20. So if you do have that pulled up, you can find that on page 20 for her. What was I going to say? I forget. All right, Annabelle, I'm going to co host you and you can make co host. Take it away.
All right, thanks, Amanda. Hi, I'm Annabel Bazante, and thanks for the wonderful introduction, Amanda. Today has really been already an empowering experience for me. I started off at, I guess it was 9:30, being introduced by Amanda to her singing bowls, which really speak the language of the heart. And later I was told to place my hands on my womb, which is not something I think about much anymore, since I haven't been pregnant, or there's been really not much activity from my womb in quite a few years. And honestly, the estrangement between myself and my son. So it was a somewhat uncomfortable experience for me, which I welcomed. We did a meditation earlier where we were told with video off to massage certain parts of ourselves, including our nipples. Like I've never had that. I've never had been in a workshop that, where we suggested that. And I think the wording that went along with it was the nipples are the eye to something. I don't know, but I had never thought of that before. Amanda will put it in the chat maybe. We're talking today, all of these powerful women who've been giving presentations about softness and sensuality. And I'm not going to say I'm old, but I'm older than the presenters I've seen so far today. And I really feel moved as a result of some of these talks to declare now that the time for me to reclaim some of what I've lost as a result of 50, 60 years of trauma, abuse, divorce, deaths of various people, addiction throughout my family, and self-sufficiency, right? I'm a pretty darn strong woman and I've accomplished a lot. Maybe I could have done more if I hadn't derailed myself or made certain mistakes, but we can be powerful and strong and soft and sensual. And these are components that I want to rejoin for myself as I decide, as I choose to age with spirit and in grace. So why did I pick this topic? I think of myself as a human, as a spiritual being having a human experience. And my body really is what's aging rather than me, rather than my spirit. On this earth, I play various roles. I'm a woman. I'm now a member of the Sullivan County Sisterhood, meeting my new friends. I'm a mother of an estranged son. I'm a citizen of the world, and Ukraine hurts. And I'm an attorney. But really, I am not an attorney. That's something that I do to earn a living. In my practice, which Amanda described briefly, I serve wonderful clients who honor me with their trust. I help them plan for possible disability and inevitable death. Planning well with advanced directives and other techniques that lawyers can provide you with helps to reduce a certain amount of stress and actually is part of embracing age in a healthy way. Not planning well, which I do in some other areas of my life, can create additional stress. And I know from experience that what I avoid, what I hide from, rules my life because I spend time trying to avoid that shadow, to avoid that whatever it is I'm afraid of, rather than running toward, that which can make my life better. So the other reason why I guess I thought about this topic is I'm surrounded, as we all are, by aging people and death. Who's not aging? We all are. It's part of life. I don't necessarily believe it's the end of life, but it's a part of life. One of the lessons my mother taught me without realizing she was doing it was that if somebody tells me that they want to die and they feel sort of spent physically, I should listen to them and accept how they feel and what they're saying. It took me years before I could just hear my mother say words like that. I used to try to encourage her to, do this or tweak that. And then I realized that this was her process, not mine. I have a wonderful friend who's living out probably the remainder of her life in a hospital bed in her living room. She can't do anything without the assistance of an aide or her husband, who's really becoming weaker by the day. She told me the other day, she's been telling me for months that she's ready to die. And the other day she told me she's not afraid of death, that she's actually looking forward to seeing my mom and my dad and her sister and other people she knew and enjoyed while they were here on earth. So, these are topics that I deal with every day and maybe led to me choosing this topic. But today is certainly not about elder law or end of life. Today is about embracing life as we embrace the changes that we experience as we progress through life, through this world. I have a wonderful friend this morning who told me when I was discussing this workshop, she said, age is absolutely not a problem to be solved, but a gift to be unwrapped each day and savored. I have a choice. I have a choice. Do I want to grow old or do I want to evolve to become my best self? I am not my body, as I said. And I need that reminder all the time because, like I'm sure a lot of women, I sometimes avoid the mirror altogether, certainly the scale. And if I do look in the mirror, I can be horrified, disgusted, or shocked. But if I recognize that I'm not a body, that I'm something far greater and beyond that, but my body is something that requires care. It's the vehicle which enables me to enjoy life, to see, to hear, to taste, smell, touch, and feel, to dream, care, and to imagine. If I lose a leg or I discover a few new wrinkles on my face, I'm no less. I'm still me. My body is aging, and that's a process we can't avoid. So I want to read a little poem. Some of my friends have heard me read it before, but it's by Anthony DeMello, and it's called Being. What must I do to attain wholeness? Asked a traveler. Follow your heart, said the master. That seemed to please the traveler. Before he left, however, the master said to him in a whisper, to follow your heart, you're going to need a strong constitution. Age imposes limits on us. It requires that we slow down sometimes. Self-care changes. There's more, there's different. There's additional time that needs to be spent just to get to the same place that used to take us a second. But we ourselves have unlimited potential. Regardless of our age, we can continue to develop our virtues, to set healthy boundaries, to explore our likes and our dislikes, and to be helpful. And sometimes the help we can give somebody is simply to smile, to share a smile, or to send a silent blessing. Today, I choose to position myself so I continue to learn, to experience new things, to stretch beyond my comfort zone. For example, this presentation, I really wasn't sure what this International Celebration of Women was going to be all about, but I have this habit to jump in and think last, think after I've jumped. So here we are, doing something very imperfectly, but I'd rather do it than not do it at all. I remember when I was a younger person, right? When I had my first job out of college, I worked in a law firm as a paralegal, and I got to know some of these very intimidating women. They were middle-aged women, secretaries. There were no female lawyers at this firm where I worked, but I think the office manager was a woman, and certainly a lot of the secretaries. They had something that I really envied. There was something that smelled like self-confidence. And I wasn't sure at the time what it was, but looking back, I remember almost feeling like I can't wait to be where they are in life, because I'd like to not be so self-conscious. I'd like to not worry about what does everybody think of me? What is everyone else going to wear? What are they going to do so that I can match them? And I believe, not only because it's my experience, but a lot of women that I know, that that is something that tends to come with age if we choose to allow it to come with age. We don't have to fight that. Do I want to go it alone, or do I want to go in company? Community, I have found, is key. Some people find it in a religious community. We can find a spiritual community, or in recovery, there are communities available. We have shared interests. We can find common ground. I know that, there was a time when I talked to some of my friends about planning to live in an intentional community. There are them around. You find a group of people, could already be established or not, who have common goals, ethics, values, and maybe plan to live with each other. Another practical thought we have to have is, and I see this all the time because this is part of what I do for work, I think about who might be able to help care for me if I need it. Who might share the daily work of running a home? If you have children who you think might wind up being reliable, well, lucky you. If you have a partner, especially one who's young and strong, well, good for you. If you think that there's a possibility you may need to pay somebody to help with that, well, you can try to plan. And what if none of that is available to you? There are friends and there are other options. Again, it comes back to community. But these are practical considerations that we really ought to consider as we are blessed with additional years going through life. I know the plan that I have is I'm renovating part of my home. This is this is my actual plan, renovating my home so that I can have space for a helper to live and maybe help me down the road, because I'm single. And as I mentioned, my son and I don't really have any kind of a relationship these days. So maybe in exchange for a place to live, I'll have somebody available to help me if I need it. Hopefully I won't, but so many people do. And thirdly, in the outline, I want to step lively. I want to proceed with enthusiasm. I want to age with spirit. I was on a camel in Egypt 2 weeks ago. I love to travel. I love to experience new things. I love to, sometimes I even like to meet new people. I like to keep moving. I have a friend in my life who I speak to just about every day who reminds me. Sometimes it annoys me, but sometimes I think about it and try to swallow it and take it in. He says, "Today is the happiest moment of my life. This is the happiest moment of my life." Years ago, I had a mentor who asked me, when I was coming out of a really dark place in my life, he said, "Well, what makes you happy? Because you don't want to just run away from hell. You want to be someplace comfortable, go towards something exciting." And I tried to think about what really makes me happy. I couldn't even remember what I used to like to do. And I came up with, well, I used to enjoy riding my bike. So he said, well, buy a bicycle. And I did. And I started riding my bike. And then as I started along a journey of evolving and becoming and exploring myself and what I really like to do with my life, I found many, many, many more things in addition to just riding a bike that I like to do. And I pursue them. What makes me smile? I enjoy natural beauty, sunshine, marching for a good cause, flowers, animals, the ocean, friends. What makes you smile? Put it in the chat if you feel like it. It would be nice to see a running list of things that make each of you smile too. I remember when I was involved with the Kushi Institute, which it was a macrobiotic institute, which oddly enough, fell to the wayside because the owner of the Kushi Institute didn't do proper estate planning, and the whole place had to be sold to pay unexpected, should have been expected estate taxes. But what they used to say as part of their program is sing a happy song every day. All right, look at this. A lot of people making babies laugh. Oh, there we go. The nipples are the eyes of the heart. Remember that, ladies. Hearing babies laugh, dancing, my children. See, oh, Jackie, seeing you do this brings me joy. This is one of my best, dearest friends. Travel and adventure, boogie boarding, seeing dogs. Oh my God, I love that too. As I navigate on my walks, flowers, plants, watching my chickens. These are great things. I would love to watch your chickens. That would probably make me smile. And the other thing I was going to say about this is if you can't think of anything that makes you smile, smile anyway. I was taught in a yoga program that I used to go to that smiling engages a lot of muscles in your face that are actually connected to endorphins or some other chemical something in our body. So smile when you're feeling lousy. And actually, sometimes I really do that. So now to the sort of the meat of this, I thought today could be not just a little bit of who am I and how am I facing, my process, but what are some practical tools that I've used, that I've heard of? And then maybe you can share some of yours. So one of the tools that can be used to help us as we age, and of course, it doesn't just have to be as we age, it can be as we do anything. We can use visualization. What's visualization? We all do it all the time. Visualization, one definition is to use mental imagery to manifest the life you want. So there are some recommended steps. First, know what you want. What brings you joy? Second, describe your vision in detail. 3, envision the actual outcome. Start to imagine the sights, sounds, smells, taste of achieving what you want. And 4, take daily actions step by step. Rome wasn't built in a day. There's somebody on here today who really helped me turn my life around years ago, Kathy Avery. She was working with me as a life coach. It feels like a forever ago. But I called her in and we would talk about, I don't even remember anything else we talked about, but it was all very helpful. And then one day in particular, she said, at the time, I was working part-time for another law firm and I was working part-time for myself. And she said, completely out of the blue, I never said anything about this to her. She said, well, do you ever see yourself just working for yourself? Or do you think you're always going to be working for somebody else in some capacity? I said, oh, no, for sure. I'm going to work for myself. I'd like to do that. She said, well, when? I said, oh, someday I'll do that. She said, well, when is that someday? I said, I don't know. I don't know when someday is. I'm not ready now. I don't have any money saved. I don't have this. I don't have that. She said, well, why don't you pick a day? I was getting angry. She said, pick a day. And I promise you, pick a day. We'll put it on the calendar and you can back it up. If you pick whatever day, you can back it up by months, years, whatever you want to do. And I figured, you know what? She hasn't steered me wrong yet. So let me pick a day. I picked a day. What did I pick? I guess it was probably early January. because I figured, well, let me get through the Christmas holidays and everything else. And I thought about that day, whatever it was that we had put on my calendar. And, as time went on, not months, like days, I thought they give lousy holiday bonuses anyway at that firm. And I'm having new clients call me, every week, every couple of weeks, whatever it was. And I said, those people, they don't really value me the way I'd like to be valued. And I decided that I was going to bring my date forward, despite the lack of a nest egg, despite lack of security, despite I moved it up. I think I wound up giving my notice so I could leave before Thanksgiving. And that's what I did. And was I afraid? Sure, I was afraid. I wound up having, and I still have a great relationship with the lawyers I worked for. But it really helped me to visualize, with the help of Kathy as my life coach, to visualize myself working for my business and taking these steps of visualization. Again, in community, we have a lot more strength than we do when we try to do things alone. Do any of you have anything in mind that you'd like to manifest for your future? Why don't you put that in the chat if something comes to mind? And if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'll tell you one thing I'd like to manifest, but I don't know how far into it I'm going to go. I'd like to manifest a beautiful, loving relationship with my son. There we go, South Africa. Well, that's almost a done deal. Our house being renovated at last, more vacations. Oh my God. Have you ever met somebody who doesn't take vacation? I know people who save up time and lose it, or have to rush and take time off at the end of the year so their employer doesn't suck it back. I have always taken every drop of vacation I was ever offered. Having a wellness center and permaculture educational space on this property upstate. That sounds wonderful. I love that. I'm doing permaculture here in Elmont, sort of the armpit of Long Island, but I grow things anyway. I have been told I have a good voice, so I'd like to manifest being the voice on books on tapes, including volunteering to work for Reading for the Blind. Okay, Christine, we're going to work on that. She says she never takes vacation, but she's smiling. She knows she can do better than that. Making art again, Jennifer. These are great ideas. And, hearing what you'd like to manifest reminds me I'd like to make art. Nobody would ever buy anything I make, but I used to have a lot of joy making collages and things like that. It can be for me. I don't have to do things for other people. Open a Biddy and Bo's coffee shop and employ individuals with cognitive disabilities. Beautiful. Okay, so that's we can move on from visualizations. The next tool I want to talk about is, and this was another gift from the same mentor who asked me, to try to remember what I used to like to do back before this long period of darkness overcame me. He taught me about positive self-worth affirmations, because I went through this period where when you would ask me, how am I, or to talk about myself, or where am I in life, I would tell you about what a lousy this or that I was, and how poorly I did this, and what I absolutely couldn't do, and what my regrets and losses were. And I was told that language has power, especially the words that come out of my own mouth. I hear what I say louder and stronger than I can hear what any of you say. Okay, Christine, I am manifesting a career and life transition where I can travel and help others. Okay, that sounds like a tour guide, but I'm sure there are more options. I love tour guides. So positive self-worth affirmations, what are some examples? Instead of saying, I can't this, or I failed at that, I can wake up and I can say to myself, I have courage. I can say, here's one that I really used. I had a friend who I was mentoring for a while. Now, this guy was tall, handsome, gregarious. He was an actor. He was so popular, and he was as insecure as I was at that time. And so we came up with something that we used to say to each other all the time for years and years. we used to say, everybody loves me and wants me around. And it was sort of a joke between the two of us, but we would say it all the time until we believed it. I can also say, I enjoy peace and serenity. I don't know about any of you, but there have been times when I have sought out chaos, excitement, danger, right? I haven't always made the greatest decisions. Today, I enjoy peace and serenity. And even when I was sort of in a transitional period of not quite enjoying peace and serenity or even knowing what they meant, I would tell myself I like it. And I eventually came to believe what I was telling myself about how I enjoy peace and serenity. The other suggestion that this mentor gave me was to avoid double negatives. Don't, Annabelle, don't say, I don't lie, because what I hear is lie. Say, I am honest. Don't say, I'm not a bad mother. Say, I'm a good mother. I'm a good friend. I'm a nurturing person. We can leave the double negatives out of that. Does anybody have any positive self-worth affirmations they want to share? You can actually raise your hand if you have one you want to share with everybody.
Can I raise my hand?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm raising my hand over here. Hi, I am resilient and I'm a quick learner. I definitely go with the flow and I take in what's going on around me and use that, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense, Christine. Thank you. Jackie wrote something. She wrote, wow, a lot of people are saying great things. I am willing to do what it takes to move forward. Good job. And I've seen you do it. Barbara says, I am enough. Fantastic. I am worthy. That's Amanda. Terry, I am enough. I am strong. I am smart. I am resilient. I am love. Sacha, Melanie, I am a hilarious grandmother. You're a hilarious cousin too. I love you so much. Holly, I am smart and I love me. Myra, I am kind. These are wonderful, and I'm glad that I get to read them out loud because then I get to really take them all in. So thank you for all that. The next tool that we can use, iPad says, I always try to do the right thing, even if it's not the easy thing. So I know that's coming from a person who doesn't always do the right thing. I just have a feeling because that's the kind of thing I would say, hoping I could work my way into it. I love that. I am a loved child of God. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So before we talk about meditation, I'm going to do another little bit of reading. It's from another one of my favorite books called The 3-Minute Meditator by David Harp. And for anybody who is unfamiliar with meditation, or even if you are, but you don't have a lot of time for it, this book is literally filled with 3-minute meditations that really work and really help. I remember when I first embarked on a journey of recovery of sorts, it was suggested to me that I meditate. And I would listen to Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey and other people say, all it takes is an hour in the morning and an hour at night. And I would say, oh my God, all it takes is an hour in the morning. And so, I expressed these feelings of, that's not going to work for me. And a wonderful person turned me on to this 3-minute meditator. You can do well with less than an hour in the morning and an hour at night. And God bless you if you have 2 hours a day for meditation. That's another goal. Maybe I can manifest that. But what I'm going to read now takes us back again, to a topic that is certainly a sister topic to the process of aging. It's loss and bereavement, because the older we get, the more loss we're going to experience, and the more we're going to have opportunity to grieve. What is loss? Singer Grace Slick once advised her listeners never to cry over losing anything that wouldn't cry over losing you. That's probably good advice, but hard to take, since grief is the pain we feel around loss. And there are many different types of loss. Some losses are internal, like the loss of your self-image as a youthful person. or the loss of idealism. Others are external, like the loss of a job, the loss of money, the loss of a relationship. And although we can grieve over any loss, the greatest loss is the loss of a loved one through death. Yet even the pain of this greatest loss is still due to thoughts in the mind, and as thoughts, they can be workable. Saying this emphatically does not mean that we shouldn't grieve or that we need to control our grief thoughts. The story is told of the great meditation master, Marpa, whose disciple found him weeping over the death of his son. "But master," said the disciple, "you always teach us that death is an illusion. Why are you crying?" And Marpa answered, "Yes, death is an illusion, and the death of a loved one is the most powerful and painful illusion of all." What are some of the benefits we get from meditating? We gain focus, we gain calm, balance, serenity, and in my experience, even a spiritual connection. If you'd like, I'm going to lead us in a 3-minute guided meditation. The first thing I'd suggest that you do is just raise your shoulders up to your ears. If you're like me, you've got a little bit of tension in there. Raise them up and hold them for a second, and then bring them down and push them down. I can't resist moving my head around a little bit. I hear some creaking and crackling. And now we can bring our shoulders back up to our ears. And now release. And now we can, if you can do it without injury, just do little circles back with both shoulders. Maybe 6 circles back. And then stop for a second and 6 circles forward. If you have a sort of sedentary job like mine, these little exercises can really be lifesavers. I actually did get on the floor with Amanda earlier. I don't do that much, but these shoulder rolls are pretty good for me. So now sit up in a meditation pose. It's not necessary that you get on the floor or anything. Just sit. What I was taught is to sort of hold my back straight so that if positive energy were to come in through the crown chakra, it could have an easy trip down the rest of my spine. And I'm just going to read this aloud and carry us through and then welcome us back. I'd like you to pause, take a deep breath, and place your feet flat on the floor. Really feel your feet in touch with the floor and underneath you. Now place your hands on your stomach or your womb, if you wish, and take 2 to 3 deep breaths, noticing your stomach rising and falling with each in and out breath. And when you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And as you keep breathing deeply into your stomach or your womb, I'd like you to breathe in for a count of 5. And then hold your breath for a count of 5. And then breathe out slowly for a count of 5. And if 5 is not comfortable for you, choose whatever number feels good to you. Breathe in, Hold and out. Each keeping your own count of 5, 5, and 5. And now I'd like you to slowly, gently, softly bring your attention back to the room, noticing the sounds around you, and begin slowly to open your eyes. How did that little meditation make you feel? Does anybody want to share out loud or in the chat, or I just see thumbs up, which is fine too.
Very good.
Very good. We liked it.
Loved it.
Loved it.
I love these short meditations, and Jackie and I sometimes tag team throughout the day because she's also an attorney, and we wake up sometimes with a lot of stress, and thank God we take turns reminding each other of the tools that we can use to welcome calm and peace, to restore ourselves to our true nature. So what I had suggested, but I know many of you didn't even have an opportunity to see the handout I prepared, so we can go through it now. I had suggested what might be a good exercise for us as we contemplate aging with spirit is to write letters to oneself, to ourselves. And the first one would be, and you know, if you have a pen or if you have your phone or whatever, you can just jot down some bullet points if you'd like, instead of writing a whole letter. Or if you write quickly, you can write a little letter if you want. But the first letter is, but there's a process before you write, to visualize yourself as a child. Close your eyes for a moment and slip into that younger version of your body and ask your younger self these questions. How old are you? Where are you? Look at your younger self. What did you look like? And what were you wearing? Are you alone, or is there someone with you? Who's with you? What's their relationship to you? What are you doing? And what are your dreams? So if you consider that, you can step back into now and write a brief letter from your current self to your younger self. What would you like to tell your younger self? When I did this exercise in preparing for today, I couldn't help but picture myself as about, I guess, 6 years old, because I have a friend on Facebook who periodically posts pictures of us from when we were that age. And I looked at a picture she had posted at some point of her and her sisters and me and my sisters, and then another neighbor. And all I could think of initially was how nicely her mother dressed her children compared to what my sisters and I were wearing. But then I did do the rest of the exercise, but it was funny. Does anybody have anything they want to share? Words that they would share with their younger self?
Annabelle, I don't mean to be the only one to share verbally here. I think everyone's putting stuff in the chat, but this stuff just makes me, holy cow. I can envision myself so much as like a 10-year-old girl with long blonde hair, and I was usually alone. I was in my backyard doing stuff. I would look at the shrubs and the leaves, and I'd see the caterpillars inside. And what I would tell my younger self is, you're gonna have friends someday. I don't know that you're gonna have other girls and females in your life someday that'll support you. So that just totally blew me away. Totally blew me away. Because I think about that and I can see what I'm wearing. I know what I wore on my first day of school on this. And I remember when I went to go visit my estranged grandmother on that day. It's just so weird that I can see. And I guess maybe that's part of my personality. I know what I was wearing most of the time something significant happened to me. I know what I was wearing when I met my first husband. It's just like really weird. So thank you so much. And I'm sorry if I'm the only one sharing verbally, but there you go.
I love it. Thanks.
There.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, how are you, Annabelle? Good to finally see you. So what I would tell my younger me, which is maybe not so much younger as to my childhood, but certainly maybe to the age of some of the other women who are participating today, is that, to make time for me and don't feel like I have to work so hard and get ahead and have significance and be, recognized, because, in the end, none of that really matters, because what matters is just how you lived your life and the joy that you get out of life. So I would say, step back and really enjoy each and every day that you have, because it goes fast,
I love that. In fact, that's similar to what I wound up telling my younger self. I wrote a whole letter, but I could boil it down to enjoy yourself, relax, let your parents work out their own differences, and you are enough. And I told myself to smile. I felt very burdened as a child. I felt very burdened. So anybody else want to share on this?
I'll share on that, Annabelle. I think that I would tell myself to help my mom more because I never wanted to do anything. She asked me to set the table, I fussed, and I would talk to my father more. And all of my older relatives, I would ask them questions and I would listen because I would like to grow up without the regrets that there's so much I don't know. So much about these people who loved me and were such an integral part of my life. That was just a kid, running around having fun, and which is fine. But I wish I had listened and asked questions. That's my thing.
That's beautiful. Thanks, Melanie. Marlene?
Thanks, Annabelle. I would tell myself, you are so special and worthy of love and time and attention. You will grow and evolve and life will get better.
Nice. And I guess some of what's coming up based on the shares I just heard is it reminds me of when my father, so this is my younger self. This is me 10 years ago, which brings me to 50, which is, okay, so it could be old to some people, but it's younger than I am now. And I remember on my dad's birthday going to visit him during his dialysis treatment. And I brought him snacks and gifts and I spent 3 or 4 hours there with him. And he was thrilled. He introduced me to everybody who was there. He was telling them things about me. And you know what sticks with me even more than how happy that made him? Why the hell didn't I do it more often? Why did I wait for his birthday to go spend those hours with him? But, you know, we're not going to age with grace if we dwell on those things. We just today can try to be a little bit more thoughtful. So you really brought that up, Melanie. Does anybody else want to share on that letter to younger self before I move on?
I would like to, Annabelle.
Go ahead.
I was picturing back to the days before I got crazy, about the ages of, 13 and 14, when I would be down the basement of my mom's house with all my friends, and we'd be listening to music. And had the long hippie, trying to be a hippie before I was a hippie, and bell-bottom pants and all of that. And our dreams were to go to rock concerts and meet the stars. And in my life I have managed to live some of that out, of those smaller dreams, but like so many other people have said, sharing life with here with you, my sister, and it reminds me of embracing that day and how those days stood out and how I loved life in that moment and how to be present for my life today. And you started this thing by saying, this is the day. This is the day to embrace life and be happy. And I've managed to come full circle with that, and appreciate and love that. Thank you so much for this presentation, Annabelle. It's been beautiful.
Beautiful, Sita. I'm so glad you're here and that you shared. In the chat, we have Sacha saying she does this exercise periodically. And she would say to keep playing, keep exploring, to stay young and playful. Jennifer said she'd tell herself it's okay to have feelings. How about that? And Amanda says you have nothing to prove. It's not your fault. Don't listen to the mean things people say to you or about you. It's not about you. You are so perfect. Keep being you, being kind, loving others. It gets better. You are loved. I'd have to agree it gets better. Certainly there are things about being in a 60-year-old body that aren't always thrilling, but I would so much rather be who I am, where I am today, than I've ever been before. And I'll bet that tomorrow I'm going to feel the same way, and next year, because I'm not giving up on this journey. I'm going to keep reaching until I can no longer reach. So the next letter I'd like us to think about writing is, take this one in. Imagine yourself, and thank you, Jackie, for the idea. Imagine yourself as a 100-year-old person. Close your eyes and slip into that older version of your body and have your more mature self answer the following questions. Where are you? What do you look like? And what are you wearing? Is someone with you, or are you alone? Who's with you? What's their relationship to you? What are you doing, and what are your dreams? So you can think about some of those questions for a moment if you'd like. And then we can step back into now and write a brief letter from your 100-year-old self to your current self. So once again, we're going to look back, but from a time that we haven't yet experienced this time. What would you write from your 100-year-old self to your current self? While you're thinking about it, I'll just read some of the letter that I had written. First of all, I don't color my hair anymore. It's still big and crazy, but it's whatever the natural color is what it is. I'm not wearing any jewelry, and I don't even know what I have on, but it's very comfortable. I'm upstate New York, surrounded by nature. I say that I feel sad because I miss my son. I wish things had worked out differently. I wish we enjoyed a fulfilling relationship of mutual trust, respect, and love. I wish I'd been able to open up in general, to be vulnerable enough for another intimate relationship. I write. I've written several best-selling books, and I have friends, some I've held on to for a long time. Others have died. Occasionally, I still make a new friend along the way. I don't eat very much. The memories dotted with regret nourish me. I've led a rich life of adventure, growth, self-acceptance, and creativity. I've made the world a little better in my own way. I've spread ideas about peace and love. I don't fear death, but I'm also not eager for it. I live more than ever, one moment at a time. Does anybody want to share some of what their 100-year-old self is telling them? Get off the darn couch and start doing the things that you always used to give you so much pleasure. I love seeing my old lady self, and my answer is always the same. Be kind to yourself, go slow, it's all going to be okay. I love you, you're doing great. Keep walking, keep making, keep hula hooping. I'm not going to pick up a hula hoop again in my life. I'll tell you that right now. But that's nice that other people can dream of it. Anybody else want to share on this letter? So, Jackie, stop worrying, all is well. So, another question following these letters is, how do you feel after visiting both your child self and your 100-year-old self? And, for those of us who are able to participate in some of these beautiful workshops with other women today, how are we feeling at the end of this day? Do you want to share anything about that? I see something in the chat. Stop worrying, let go of the guilt. There we go. That's a good one.
I love that everything says, what are you wearing? Because I don't know what the heck that is with me, but I just remember, and I know that when I'm 100, I'm going to be looking hot. I'm going to be wearing something stylish, and I'm going to have jewelry. And my kids make fun of me because I have what they call pajama jewelry, because I've been working from home. So I wear pajamas, but I have pajama jewelry.
Good for you.
I will always have something coordinating on. And I love this. Annabelle, I absolutely adore you. This has just been wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If anybody is interested in getting on my mailing list, please feel free to put your email in the chat. Nelson will pick it up. And here we go. Wait, there's some more. A sense of support. I love that couch and enjoy my time there. All right, Yvonne. Each her own. A sense of support that will always be there and of abundance. A sense that we are all on a path that is illumined. Beautiful, Holly. Amanda, I love that so much. I resonate, Christine. I feel like I really took care of myself today and it feels so good. I'm going to do it more often. Kathy.
Hi, ladies. Oh, Annabelle, thank you so much. And I want you to know that your hair looks fabulous. I love it. Um, what an empowering day. And, you know, I've done a lot of this work, the aging work. And when I seen you were doing a workshop on aging, aging with spirit, you know, um, it is my responsibility, and this invitation is to all of you to take on that it is our responsibility to age with spirit. And responsibility is not a chore, responsibility is a privilege. So, just the fact that I'm aging, what a privilege. And yes, went to the doctor today, got some arthritis happening. How lucky am I? Because maybe if I didn't have arthritis, I wouldn't have breath. So, it's acceptance of the changes. And just the whole day was so empowering. And when I'm 100, I'm manifesting this, Annabelle, that I am surrounded by other 100-year-old women. And we are just at it. We are still at it. We are still empowering each other. And, you know, that's what I'm going to put out there and that's what I'm going to create. And thank you so much for sharing the story. Because, ladies, I do want you to know that Annabelle did it. She picked that date and she didn't move it back, she moved it up. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And look at you now with that hairdo that I am loving, and you are your own creator. And it works, ladies. It absolutely works. So just thank you. Today was amazing, and I look forward to tomorrow. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you. So it's almost 6 o'clock. So I just really, before I turn everything back over to Amanda, I just really want to thank everybody for your shares, for listening, for letting me, consider the aging process for myself. Um, I'm not going to say especially because everybody's got their own challenges, but there's something different about facing life alone as opposed to surrounded by a bunch of people. And there's a beauty in it. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but it's nice to be reminded that I am in community whenever I choose to be. So thank you.
Annabelle, you rocked it today. You hit a home run. You empowered all of us. You did a great job. It was a gift from God, and I believe there was a real spiritual presence in today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Annabelle.
I
I'm
look,
here too.
well, wait, what?
I'm here too.
Of course you are, Bert.
Couldn't leave you out.
No way.
Oh, yeah, look who's here with Maureen.
And baby Cameron. Baby Cameron. Hi, everybody.
Cameron.
Hi, Cameron. You look so beautiful.
Yeah, you do.
I got a part of what you were saying while he was running around, but what a wonderful thing to just empower us where we are. I am enough, whether I'm 10 or 110. I really, when I'm at my best, I am enough, right? Don't you think? I think so. So anyway, thanks, Annabelle. It was terrific.
Thank you. And thanks for bringing Cameron. How beautiful. Beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you
being
so much.
here as a silent witness or as a beautiful spirit or as a sharer, whatever you did here, it's been great. And I'd like to turn it back over to Amanda. She has something to close out the day for us.
Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Annabelle, that was incredible. And I'm just so moved. Tears in my eyes. This day was so incredible, and this was such a perfect way to end it. Because I know that in our society, it's, being young and youthful is what is looked at as the it thing, not aging with, spirit and grace. And aging is looked down upon. I know people that do everything in their power to look as young as possible for as long as possible rather than like embracing life, really. And within the context of being a woman, we have these 3 distinct phases that we go through: the maiden, the mother, crone, but the wise woman. And it's so powerful to have had you, such a wise woman, sharing your wisdom with all of us and having such a community of support that you bring with you, that just like love you. And just it was so powerful, and I'm really looking forward to those who missed it to be able to watch your workshop and glean all of the wisdom from you off of it. um, so thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me to participate. It's been a beautiful day.
Of course, yeah. I'm so happy that we have women from the sisterhood that are presenting. It's really exciting.